Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this live video broadcast for the Royal Voluntary Society. It's nice to be back here for the second time, and any members who saw me first time, remember I got stuck with those horrible glasses. Well, hopefully I've got the system right this time, and I can now actually speak to you in this normal fashion. And I don't know about you, but gardening, and in particular for me, during this very difficult time on this lockdown, the allotments has been my major saviour at all times. To me, it's my outdoor and open air activity, which gives me plenty of fresh air. And now we've been very lucky during this lockdown that we've had the nice sunny weather most of the time. Okay, but I do a bit of watering on the plot, but still I'll settle for the sun. It's also my gym, where I exercise regularly. I can exercise every muscle, right from the tip of your toe, almost up to your neck and your head. You could be secateuring, you could be digging, you could be lifting. Every muscle, your back, your shoulders, keeps your belly flat and everything else while you're exercising out there. And also to me, is my social partner. I can go there for peace and solitude, or at social distances, I can talk to many of my people. Hello, I've got a cup of coffee while I'm working, thanks to my good lady. There we are, thank you, dear. I've been looked after well here, indoors, and it's also great to have the banter. It's not as good as being close up and being in the same cafe, but it's great to be actually meet my mates on the open air every day and have a bit of chat. And again, one of the beauties of all this, and what is particularly relevant now, is it's coming through as I'm getting harvesting regularly fresh food. So I'm coming home with vegetables every day, and it supplements us having to go to the supermarket, which can be a bind. Anyway, the plot is pretty full, and for the winter and autumn, I've already got my parsnips, my leeks, my sprouts, and my swede. These all have to go in early. People think of planting these in the summer. No, they have to go in late spring, early summer to actually make that growth for harvesting during the winter. Also, I've got potatoes, cabbage, runner beans, French beans, peas, cabbage, carrots, courgettes, mallow, celeriac, all for my hot meals during the coming months, and even now I'm starting to harvest. And along with that, for the little snack, occasionally I have my salads, my radish and my spring onion and my lettuce outdoors there. But also in the greenhouse I have my tomatoes, my cues, my aubergines, my sweet pepper, and as a bit of a dessert I'm growing melons as well. So everything is taking place. Also out on the plot, I'm starting to harvest the strawberries. The gooseberries are just about ready, and it won't be long before blackberries come along, blackcurrants come along as well. So you can see, not only do I get my main meal, I get my dessert as well. And of course, I have to grow flowers. But despite all the veg, and I wouldn't get this cup of coffee otherwise, I have to give in my brownie points. And at the moment, I'm picking Sweet Williams, which keep my wife happy. And I'm then also will be picking sweet peas, which add that wonderful fragrance and colour to the house. And all this is needed because I often spend far too long at the allotments and get into deep trouble. And you have to put my glasses on because I can see messages going up here. And we reconnected. Must be moving my glasses about. These are real glasses today, not the jokey ones. And the plot is almost full, and June is a great time on the plot because it is virtually full. It's mainly the things you have to do is wander around, keep the pests at bay and keep the weeds at bay. And the best thing of all, every day you're harvesting. It's great to actually to come along and do that. So it's a month to relax, sit back, enjoy the fruits of your harvest. And the harvesting is now the centre stage at all times. So now, after that little brief intro, I will take all your questions. And I see they're starting to come through. Hi, Terry, what would you reckon? I was going too quick. Hi, Rachel, it's good to be back again. I missed the jokey glasses. Sorry, Emily, these are my real ones. It's a sign of time. I can read most things and see most things, but anything small on my screen, I have to put these glasses on. So if I take them off, I won't be able to read the screen. So I'm hidden behind these not jokey ones, even though they might look like they are my proper glasses. So right, come on in, folks. Let's flow the questions and see if we can get some answers that you need here. I hope you've all tuned in and you all see me quite clearly and hear me quite clearly. So here we go. Questions I'm waiting for. Gone quiet. It's always the way when you go to talks. You get to talks. Where's your dicky bow? That's back in the drawer waiting for Father Christmas. I haven't got it on today. Thank you, Nadine. You've got a lovely name. We named a potato after you. I have some lovely second early Nadines, and they are beautiful potatoes. So you are in good company. Should I put manure on rhubarb? No, I usually put custard, Catherine. It tastes much tastier and less of a problem. You only put the manure on during the winter months. Terry, where's the best spot to grow herbs? On the windowsill in the sun or more shaded? No, they love the sun. And again, I tend to grow some herbs on the windowsill. And again, I tend to put them on the outside the back door because herbs need to be near the kitchen where they can be harvested when you require them. And they like hot, dry, and don't overwater them. What's best to grow on your little balcony? Depends what you want to grow, Emily. Most things can be grown on a balcony. But again, if you've got grow bags or pots, most of the things you can grow are salady type vegetables. But if you've got a very large pot, there's nothing stopping you if you can get hold of some 8-foot canes of growing some half a dozen runner beans and pick those if you want them. Do you recommend any natural pest control? There is no, the natural pest control are your lacewings and your ladybirds. These are the things you want to encourage. Some of the wasps, at this time of year, we all malign wasps, but when they are feeding young, they take caterpillars and everything else. So I recommend you introduce as much into the garden as you can to keep the pests under control. The only thing I actually add to my garden are to keep slugs at control, what I water on Nemeslug. Nemeslug and nematodes, which have to go on when the ground is wet, so there haven't been too many chances to put them on this year, but they go in and they keep the slug population at bay. My coriander, Emily, your coriander's going yellow. Is it going to die? If it's going yellow, it's not a good sign. It's either got too cold, it's got too dry, or it might be lacking magnesium. If you can got any Epsom salts in the house, put it in your watering can, water it onto that, and you've got a fighting chance. Hello, they're coming too fast, slow down. I have a fig tree that I bought, but the leaves are starting to curl. How's the best to treat this? I wouldn't worry too much about fig tree leaves curling. It's just probably the heat we had in the last few weeks. That is putting it under stress. Now it's cooled off and we might get a drop of rain. This should be fine, Maria. Just leave it and it should come back quite well. If they start to go brown, then just cut those leaves off. As long as there's plenty of other good growth on the tree, you'll be fine. While I'm waiting for your questions, cheers, I'm having a slurp of coffee. Where they gone? The questions are gone quiet again. Get a big flurry and I can't keep up with, and then suddenly... Great idea, read magnesium, thank you. Yeah, magnesium is always a sign when things are going yellow. Sometimes there's lack of magnesium, and Epsom salts are a perfectly good way to use this. Hello, what veg shall I grow in a shady spot? None if you can avoid it. Most things, vegetables like the sun. Well, are we going too fast for me again now? Most of them like the sun, and there are some like beetroot and some things which won't get too drawn in the shade, but mainly grow vegetables. They love the sun, believe it or not. I'm a beginner in the garden. What's the easiest vegetable to grow? The easiest of all, and I've said this every time I've asked, is the radish, because it's a big seed, can be cut in, it's up in about 4 or 5 days and ready to harvest in 6 weeks. But most lettuce, most spring onions, and any of the salad family are easy. If you've got a large tub or a bit of ground, carrots are not too bad, but basically most of the salad crop. When should I prune my hydrangeas? You don't prune hydrangeas. You wait until next spring. Let those flowers die back. Next spring, cut off all the dead flowers. Don't cut back too hard or you won't get any more. But hydrangeas are one of these things you only need to prune if you want to keep it in shape. Avoid pruning. I've run out of space my allotments for courgettes. Can I grow them in large pots? I wouldn't recommend large pots. I would recommend a grow bag, because they wait till the courgette when it's growing pulls the roots out of the compost. The cleaner to the ground you can keep them, the better it can be. And again, I do agree with you. Courgettes and allotments can be a nuisance because they can take over. Delia, why do my honeysuckle leaves turn yellow and die as soon as they have 12 flowers? I have no idea why your honeysuckle leaves turn yellow and die as soon as you have 12 flowers. Honeysuckle leaves tend to go yellow anyway because it's a lot of green material. And again, I presume you've got it up against the wall and it tends to go dry at the root. But it's a tough old article, the honeysuckle, and it will survive. No problem at all. But I don't know why. I've never heard the mathematics of why it dies after 12 flowers. I think that's just basically a myth. It's just one of those things that's happening to the plant. Let us slurp my coffee while I got a break. This is very relaxed. Hello, Helen. I have potatoes growing in bags, lots of leaves. When do I know to pick them? If you're in bag selling, it's a wonderful idea how to do this. Roll up your sleeve, put your hand into the compost in the bag, feel around like the bran tub, and if you find a decent sized potato there, pluck it off, pull it out, and if you're happy with the size, then pick what you want for that meal, put the compost back, water them, feed them, and just then go and pick them as you want them, and they're always fresh, and that will go on for 2 or 3 weeks before the plant starts to turn a bit yellow, looks a bit ragged. Then tip the whole pot out and collect all the ones you missed while you're in there feeling around. Why do you say you should plant potatoes in compacted soil? I didn't realize they do say that you should plant potatoes in compacted soil. Mine are certainly not grown in compacted soil. They're grown in very soft soil, which makes it easy then for me when the foliage starts going up, for me to earth them up. And what I mean by that is I drag the earth either side to cover some of the foliage and keep as much potato haulm above the surface and as much root as I can underground. Why has my hydrangea taken 3 years to flower? It probably is just making that root. There's no, with any of these shrubs, until they are happy. And again, don't overfeed any of the shrubby plants, because if they do, they make lots of green. You need to put a bit of stress on flowers to make sure they actually flower. And your hydrangea, as long as it's looking healthy and happy, then sorry, Karen, you're going to have to be patient. Oops, ignore question. What have I said? How often should you water runner bean plants? I've only recently propagated and potted. Well, on the dry periods, I water my runner bean plants at least twice a week. And in the real hot period, it's gone by, sometimes up to 3. And again, once the flowers started forming, I add some seaweed extract into that water, and that gives them a bit of extra boost as well. But runner beans are very, very thirsty, and once they started flowering, need lots of water to make those beans swell. Again, it looks like we're going to have an unsettled period over the next few days, so you can put the watering can away, and they should get plenty from the heaven. Tomato isn't a vegetable? Well, there's always this debate of what is a vegetable, what is a fruit. And to me, yes, I agree with you in principle, Emily, that anything with seeds on the inside is classed as a fruit. Anything that gets seeds from flowers is classed as a vegetable. What's the best tips for growing tomatoes outside of a greenhouse? I wouldn't do it. But that's not a tip. But if you're going to grow them outside, then if you can get some shelter over them to keep the rain off, that helps to reduce any occurrence of blight, which occurs regularly outdoors on tomatoes. And again, growing out tomatoes, unless we get a really good summer, you've got a situation whereby they very rarely fruit and ripen too quickly. Right, another slurp of my coffee while I'm waiting for the questions. Right, Kirsty. I'm growing carrots in a deep patio. What's up now? Too quick. Between them. Can you resend that one? That's gone up. Why is my first apple tree planted five years ago not having fruit? Mina, you've never had any fruit. And it was planted 5 years ago. This apple tree obviously isn't very happy where it is. Again, this year you can do nothing now. But what you need to do next year when the leaf is starting to open, give it plenty of potash at the base. Always keep it wet. And then you should get blossoms start to go. Then keep your fingers crossed. You've got bees to set it. And then you should be picking apples. It's always down to anything which fruits, plenty of potash. That's the answer to that. Can I have the carrot question again? If you're still obviously still watching in, you give me the carrot question, I can go back and answer that. It moved too quickly. The next one come up too quickly, mate. Everybody's gone quiet. They've all gone shy. Has everybody gone shy? Yes, no? I don't want to start munching. I got a biscuit as well, but I daren't munch that because the minute I put it in my mouth. There we are. Well done, Kirsty. I'm growing carrots in a deep patio container. What kind of space do I need between them? When you put them in, sow them rather thinly to start off, Kirsty. And then when they start to come up, when the foliage is growing well, start to thin them out. And when you thin them out, you will get some very small, tender carrots. Don't waste them. They're quite small. Just put them in, wash them, and use them as a nice little tender young carrots. And then gradually thin them out. And when they're about 1 inch to 2.5 inches apart, then you'll get the bigger carrots. But I never waste any carrots. I keep pulling them and use the small ones and let the other ones get bigger and bigger. And again, if you're growing carrots in a patio, then every 2 weeks, sow again. So you've got a succession right throughout the summer. Keep sowing carrots. It's like salads. You sow on a fortnightly basis to make sure you've got a continuity of the vegetable throughout the summer months. And again, these will go right into the autumn. And in July, I plant again, take them in my greenhouse during the winter, and I use them throughout the winter months. How easy to grow grapes, Terry? It's not very easy outdoors unless you've got a sloping hillside. But if you can grow them indoors in the greenhouse, they can make the root outside, train them over the top. They're not easy. They do need a bit of work. You've got to thin them out. You've got to cut out. You've got to know where to cut them to take off the side shoots. You only need so many grapes per lateral. But if you give them a go, if you want to give them a go, they can grow quite easily. Can you grow carrots in heavy clay soil? It's not really recommended. If you've got heavy clay soil, the best thing advising that are any members of the brassica family. And I tell you what does well in heavy clay soil is cauliflowers and broccoli. They like that firm ground to make those big firm hearts. But everything else in clay soil is good, but it dries out quickly and goes hard, and it's very difficult to work. But the advantage is there's lots and lots of nutrients. All these questions are coming quite well. Any more coming in? Much more control this time. We got a bit frantic last time, but most of these are coming in. There we are. Catherine, can carrots grow in stony ground? That's worse than having heavy clay. The trouble with stones, when the carrot hits that, that's why you get these wonky carrots you see posted on Facebook and on Twitter with these grotesque and sometimes obscene shapes. Carrots like very, very fine soil, as deep as it can be, with no stones and no impediment. Because once they hit anything at all as they're going down, they turn around it and they make all these four carrots that make ridiculous shapes. They're still usable, but you will never get long, straight carrots in stony ground. Sorry, Catherine, I can't help you there. You have to get all those stones out. You may be a long time, but keep trying. And a drink of coffee. Any more coming? Where's Abby today? It's not the best of days outside. I wouldn't have thought too many people were in the garden. I would have thought we'd done, what's your top 5 fruit and veg to grow? The best veg to grow of all is strawberries. I love strawberries. Whoa, slow down. Everybody's going too quick again. Are we going to slow? Yeah. My best 5, I would grow strawberries, runner beans, peas. Some of these questions are going to have to come back because they come in too quickly, you know. Runner beans, peas, strawberries. I grow black currants because I love those as fruit. And as my last vegetable, for an all-round versatile crop throughout the autumn and winter, I would grow a leek. What's the best thing to stop slugs eating my marigolds and osters? There is nothing that can stop you there. It's one of those things. You can get these days organic slug pellets which are based on ferrous phosphate, which you can put around the base. But again, if they're grown in pots, a bit of copper wire around them will stop them going over. Or if you rub some greasy stuff like Vaseline, that will stop the slugs drying up. My mum has a purple colour on her vegetables. Is this safe? Depends what the vegetable is, really, at the end of the day, Joanne. Purple colour usually signifies, if it's not natural dark green, then it signifies they are under stress. It means either they're too cold, they're too wet, or they're too dry. It is purple colour. It doesn't stop you eating them. They're perfectly safe, but they don't look too inviting. Those couple of questions I nipped through earlier, if you could repost them. How do I stop wasps eating my plums and pears? You have to get these wasp traps you can put into the trees. They give off this pheromone, and they then stop the males actually eating the plums and pears. Or if they're only quite small miniature trees, then a fine net after they've all the blossoms set, and that will keep them away. But they only come, the wasps only do what they do naturally, and they tend to do this later in the summer, not now. And believe it or not, wasps at this moment in time are collecting pests, which are a nuisance to the gardeners, such as caterpillars, because they feed in young. It's only after the young have come out and the young adolescents come out, they go and eat all this fruit on the fruit trees. They get high on the sugar, they get rather drunk, and they go look for wild individuals to go and sting. Most of the time, wasps are good, but when they're in adolescence, they become a nuisance. Any of the questions I missed previously, if you'd like to repost, I will come back to them. Another silent moment. They all come in big floods. It's like the rain this afternoon. We've been dry for so long, and now we promised 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. Not what we want. Gentle rain all night is far, far better. But there we are. As gardeners, we have to adapt to all these things. So are we all tuned in or tuned out? I'm still here for another 5 or 10 minutes. So any more questions, keep them coming. I have to leave you at 3:30 for another show, but I've still got about 10 or 11 minutes. So anybody's question I missed earlier because I went through quick, no problem, please repost. Where they all gone, Catherine? It's gone quiet. It's gone very, very quiet. Any more? Right, Deb. I don't know. I know it isn't a vegetable. Why the leaves of my mint plant very small now? The plant is quite well. Mint is normally a rampant thing. I presume you've got it in a pot or is it in the garden. Again, with mint, just treat it rough and it'll survive quite well. Do I grow onions? Yes, I grow. I'm tremendous about onions. I grow a lot from sets, and I grow a variety called Stewron because they store the best. And I grow a number of one from seed. I grow Mammoth, white, red Mammoth, and I also grow Ontario, which is basically one which is resistant to downy mildew. Any tips for growing cucumbers? Yes, grow them in the corners. Always grow them in a pot up off the ground so they get plenty of drainage or they get black leg. Train them up a cane and they will go up, and right across the top of the greenhouse you grow them quite well. Keep an eye on the side shoots. And when a side shoot comes out, wait till the cucumber forms, let 2 more leaves form along that cucumber, cut that out or the thing will get out of hand. And again with cucumbers, feed a minimum of once a week, and I feed with seaweed extract, but any proprietary liquid feed will do. Scroll up. What in the arm, Morgan? Should I be worried about tree bees? No, you shouldn't be worried about any bees. You always encourage bees, Sue. They are the best friend of the gardener, and without them, 60% of our crops would be useless to us. I'm growing cut and come again lettuce. I've actually pulled the head off. Will the root grow again? Yes. If you accidentally pull the head off, it'll still come from the base. That's the one beauty of cut and come again lettuce. Normally I call these scissors lettuce because I just cut the taller leaves off with the scissors, use them when I want, and they will keep going. With the cut and come lettuce, it always comes from the root and will probably last anything up to 4 to 5 weeks. So again, once you've been using these for 2 or 3 weeks, sow some more so you always got a continuity of the crop itself. Nadine, you have plenty of questions. Where's a good position to grow gooseberries? As with all fruit, a sunny, well-drained area with plenty of humus, plenty of manure underneath, and keep them going. Hello, going too quick again. Now, what was that one? How much space shall allow for butternut squash? My battery's running low. I've got to plug you in. Hang on one moment. I've got to just plug you in because the battery's running low. I've got to do that. Sorry about this slight technical hitch. It's surprising what is used. Right. How much space to allow for butternut? Butternut squash are rampant. They run everywhere. So give them at least 2 to 3 yards each because they send out plenty and plenty of runners to get a big heavy crop of them. Is rhubarb easy to grow? Yes. Get hold of a crown. Don't usually plant it much for November. Give it in a good sunny position. Believe it or not, rhubarb loves sunny positions. So put it in a sunny position. And again, make a big hole, put it in, cover with compost, cover it with manure, leave it then until it comes up in the spring, and then keep it regularly watered, so in a sunny position. During the first year, only harvest and bind them out. And again with rhubarb, once it's harvesting, when it comes to July, stop harvesting. Leave those leaves and stalks so we can actually feed the plant for the following year. Last of my coffee. Is compost safe to use? Sarah, can you elaborate a bit on that? What compost do you mean? You can buy compost in bags, and most of that is pretty good. Or you can make your own compost from your own compost heap and all your green waste and anything else. What's good to plant now, Terry? Just salads. Most of everything else is basically in. You can still get away with the food runner beans, but most of the crops now should be settled in. You're getting a bit late. Most crops take up anything up to about 10 to 12 weeks to harvest, with the exception of salad. So if you plant now, you're talking about September, And then by then, the nights are getting cool, the days are getting shorter, and they won't thrive too much at all. More come in. More come in. I missed some earlier. If those people who put them up a bit quick in succession, they could bring them up again. I will do my best to answer them. Once bunny's bolted, can I rescue it or just plant some more? Once it's bolted, Lydia, rip it out, put it on the compost heap and plant some more. Because once it's gone, it's gone. No problem, Emma. Glad I could be your help. Any more come in? We still have about 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes left. That's just come up, Lydia. I've had that one once. I've had bad stuff about compost. I was scared to use it this year. Would you suggest any particular brand? Well, I use one from Bathgate called Champions Blend, and this has got plenty of nutrients added in. It's not the cheapest on the market, but if you buy cheap compost, you get cheap compost. Yes, there is a problem sometimes with compost, that the fact they use recycling into it, and sometimes the recycling, particularly if people have put lawn cuttings out for recycling to the recycling men, these contain herbicides which can affect plants and make them grow peculiar. So be careful which compost you buy. Always buy a good reputable compost. So the best time to start planting most is around February. No, you can plant most things indoors start in February. March and April are the major times you plant outdoors. May is when you put all your tender plants out like runner beans, courgettes, sweet corn, and after that then it's just a matter of filling in gaps and filling them up. I just missed a few more, they came too quick. What can I use on strawberries instead of straw? Be honest with you, Julie, I used to use straw, but it's a bit messy. You can get bits of plastic under the large hands of strawberries, or you can get bits of felt just to keep them off the ground. But again, it's not important. The main thing is if it's dry, it's not a problem. If you get rain, you get splattered of some of the soil and kind of make them a bit gritty. But again, if you can get straw, I would be very, very light with it. But again, keep them off the ground if you can. And most strawberries, if they're growing well, the strawberries don't tend to drop on the ground anyway. My phone is slipping. Any more coming? Are we still okay? Come on, we've still got 5 minutes. Anybody with last minute questions? I have to go off and do another radio then, so I'm still waiting. You all seem to be like what I do when I talks. People sit there, you're very, very quiet. Then one question comes, and in the end, I can't cope with the number of questions. The tough life of a gardener, eh? The tough life of a gardener. Where are you all gone? There was a few I missed earlier. Please come back. I would love to have those questions again. No, it's gone very quiet. I've drunk my coffee. I've got nothing to fill my time. I'm going to have to eat my bourbon biscuit. What is your favourite vegetable to eat, Terry? Well, Emily, that's easily answered. It's the common old garden pea. And I love the pea because when you go up the allotments, you can pick a handful of these off the plant, put them in your pocket, basically pop them open as you're walking around. You can check the pods on the ground because they are by. Hello, it's gone mad again now. You can pop them on, check them on the ground, and they will just rot down. It's far better than sweets. It's far healthier. I know what's good about it. When you get an aging gardener like myself, you quite often forget where you come from, what you were doing. You can follow the trail of pea pods back, and you know exactly where you started, and you know exactly where you're done. And 9 times out of 10, when I've lost my trowel, I'll follow the pea pod trail, and there's my trowel at the end of the pea pod trail. I planted in containers as a vertical space, yes, Lydia. So I don't know if it's going to be too late going into the ground. What was that, Lydia? I missed the part of the question. Pop up. What are you going to plant in the container? If you pop it up again, we will answer that before we go. You've still got 3 or 4 minutes. Go on, Lydia. Tap away on the keyboard. Tell me what you want to plant in the containers. That wasn't the courgette thing of earlier, was it? Where you wanted to plant courgettes and I didn't recommend containers. You're not too late to put in the ground. You're only planting mine a while ago. Oh, leeks. Right, your leeks. You're not too late. And when I dig my early potatoes, if I got some leek plants still knocking about, I put them in there in mid to late June. Okay, they might not make the same size as the ones I put in May, but you will still have leeks which are usable for the pot. And no problem at all. Leeks in containers, yes, you can get on with that now. It isn't a problem. Bear in mind, they can be planted fairly close together, leeks. As long as you can water them, feed them well, they'll be fine. Right, you built up a compost heap over the last few years. Now what do I do with it? Nothing at this time of year unless you're going to mulch with it. If it's well broken down, mulch amongst your plants. But I would keep that now until the autumn and then dig it in. What type of apple tree would you recommend? I would recommend one that's on rootstock. I would recommend a miniature, and depends on what type. It's difficult to recommend an apple tree. Depends what you actually, type of apple you like. Well, look around. There's plenty of varieties of apple tree around, but I would stick to a miniature. Sometimes you can grow in a pot. I would prefer to grow in the garden, but I would always grow a dessert apple over a cooking apple because you get better crop. You can't show me a photograph, Lydia, unfortunately. The technologies, as most things, and I'm learning every day in this lockdown how to use new technology. I always thought Zoom was on a camera before, but I didn't realise Zoom was a system you could use. WhatsApp video, FaceTime video, everything's on video. My poor brain, I used to be a simple gardener, now I've become a technocrat. Never mind, Lydia, you can always post one on Facebook of your leaks, and I can have a look at it and I can reply to you there. Right, we coming to the end now. Any more now, ladies? Any more coming out?
It's 1:30, mate.
Yeah, it's 1:30. I know that. I got to go on and do the next one now. Anyway, has nobody got the last question coming in? No, I think we are coming towards the end now. Well, I hope that's been informative. It's always a bit sort of air-raising it sometimes when the questions come through. I hope you understood me. I hope I wasn't speaking too fast. That's the trouble with the Welsh. I very much like the Italians. They get carried away with the moment. So I hope that's been good. And I'm now going to sign off. And do we use a rotavator? No, it's all dug by hand. Thank you, Kelvin. You got the last question in. And then thanks for all for listening in. And I tell you all, keep safe, keep happy, but most of all, keep gardening. We'll get through this. Cheers for now. Bye.